Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And this video is a sort of continuation of one of my previous videos about the books that you have to use for second year. And in this video, I'll be telling you about how you can manage second year much more effectively than what I did. Before we get started, there are two keys for a perfect second year. Number one, spaced repetition. Number two, a good mental health. And on that note, I'd like to introduce the sponsors for this video, which is BetterHelp, spelled as HELP, so that's BetterHelp. BetterHelp is one of the world's largest therapy service, which is 100% online. And with this resource, you can tap onto about 25,000 licensed therapists to discuss your issues. To get started with this, you'll have to register by mentioning your needs and preferences of a therapist so that they can match you with the ideal one for you from their network. And then you can talk to your therapist via any means: text, chat, call, video call. You can also message your therapist at any point and schedule a live session for yourself. And if for some reason you don't feel that your therapist is the right fit for you, you can always get a new one with no additional charges. The best part about BetterHelp is, number one, it's accessible and you can schedule your meeting at any point, so that's very flexible for you. Number two, it's at a much affordable rate than offline therapy, but with the same professionalism, especially catered for you. So you can avail 10% off at your first month in BetterHelp by using betterhelp.com/coolmitochondria, and I will also be linking this to my description. Coming back to the video, which subject you want to start with? I think we'll start with path because it has a lot to cover. So I was on the flight and I made this script. Pathology equals Robbins. So when you're in class, pay attention to the class, because usually what happens is there is so much in Robbins that you need to know what to focus on. So either, if you can, try to underline the main points within the class time itself. Otherwise, come back and underline what you understood from the class. Read under each and every diagram. I do not care if you use any other book for pathology. One thing you have to do is, when you use Robbins, look at the diagrams and read under the diagrams. It is beautifully written and summarized, whatever is there in the entire. Something that probably is written in 10 pages in Robin can be summarized under that one diagram text. Another resource I did use was Ramdas, as I mentioned in the previous video. Ramdas I mostly used for topics which were asked in practicals. For example, peripheral smear, etc. It was really well written in Ramdas. So I'd suggest, if you can, check that out too. And in practicals, I know that there are a few spotters and you only learn like 1 or 2 points about those spotters, but I always suggest to know as much as you can about that particular spotters, because bhaiwa mein lagegi varna. About notes, well, see, you can try making notes, but Robbins is so extensive that you can only end up making notes for a very few topics, and that is if you start making notes right from the beginning. I would suggest you to make paragraph notes like I asked you to do for Guyton. So you read a paragraph and you figure out the main points from this. You make a mini flowchart of it and you probably stick it on a sticky note or write it right next to the paragraph. If you're someone who annotates their book, then this will definitely help. And if you do make notes, please just do not rely only on your notes. Read Robbins along with it till the end. As I said again, practice all the diagrams really well. Gross and morphology, it needs to be on your fingertips, because this weighs, that's what path is about. It weighs way more than the gene names. So don't waste your time in trying to remember the small gene names. Instead, try to understand why the pathology looks this way. Why does it look this way under the microscope? That's really going to help you. Smart learning. See, when you get to the cancer segment of path, you'll realize that all the cancers have a lot of similar characteristics. So you need to focus on learning what's different in each cancer instead of learning everything at the same time. I'll try making a video on how I memorized cancers. So until then, wait. I'm gonna repeat this again and again. Spaced repetition, keep revising. You've read this topic today, read it within the next 3 weeks or 1 month. Again, it's really gonna help you. And some video resources you can definitely use for path are, I figured them out in third year when I was preparing for Emily, but I loved Khan Academy. It is absolutely great. And a few other YouTube channels You know, the ones with like 10k 15k subscribers, but then they have like really good videos. Go for those channels. They end up having really good explanations about each and every pathophysiology. Pharmac, my favorite subject on earth. I should just stop dancing. Pharmac equals KDT. But at the same time, I am not opposed to Shanbag. I actually really like that book. But KDT, I'll tell you why it's very helpful. Number one, because it prepares you to read the big books. Once you go to 4th year, there are no shortcuts. You have to read the big books, and I feel KDT is the best start for it. I mean, obviously greatt is, but yeah, KDT. The thing is, KDT has explanations to things. The thing is, when you read notes or when you read books which just have pointers, you're not able to memorize them because you don't know why that particular thing is happening. The thing with KDT is, when you read the entire thing once, you know why, what, when. And another thing is that you'll only have to remember very few important things from KDT. So the book, when you annotate it, it looks really spaced out and you feel like studying it. And now about Pharmac. I'll tell you what I realized over my 1 year of Pharmac experience. Mechanism of action is the key. And for mechanism of action, what is important is knowing path. So all these subjects are so interrelated, you need to know all of them really well. Mechanism of action tells you how. And when you know how, you'll know why it is used. And when you know why it is used, you know what adverse effects it can cause. It's as simple as that. Just learn the mechanism of action really well. Actually, Shanbag has very nice flowcharts for mechanism of action. But if you want a little more detail into that flowchart, I'd suggest read from KDT and annotate in Shanbag the other extra points that you got from KDT. Practice spellings, dude, they are so... I'm telling you, I wrote one wrong spelling, they cut full 4 marks for me. Practice spellings. Spellings are very important. Each and every drug, I want you to write them down in capital letters again and again and again. And for the important and common diseases, you need to know the proper dose, duration, everything. I'm not talking about the common drugs, but the common diseases. And finally, listen to yourself only. If you feel this chapter is better from Shanbag, you can read it from Shanbag. If you feel it's more comfortable in KDT, you do it from KDT. It's your will. I gave you the resources. It's up to you how you use it. Microbiology. Do not take this lightly at all. I have seen like a lot of people who are like, okay, a micro is like biochem. You don't really have to study much. But no, those people, they really ask like in between the lines and all, they'll ask. Micro is bad. Micro is the one subject where revision is extremely important. You'll have to keep revising that subject because it is conceptual, but a lot of it is also memorization. I want you to scan Apurva Shastri for complete concept. It's a great book. I've also heard Baveja is pretty good. Apurva Shastri is kind of a PG level book, but the teachers asked us a lot of questions in Viva and everything from the depths of Apurva Shastri. So yeah. But for micro, I'd say you focus in the class and after that you read on your own. You don't have to annotate in the class because you're going to end up reading everything anyways. Another thing is that, listen, you're going to understand complete micro only at the end of the year. Trust me, it's one of those subjects which you end up correlating at the end of the year after you know all other subjects too. So don't worry about it if you're facing difficulties in micro in the beginning, but it's a pretty good subject. And for micro, the key is basics. Basics are the key for micro. You need to know the basics of staining. You need to know the basics of all these lab diagnostic tests, about cultures, everything. They might seem like inconsequential right now in the beginning, but at the end, they're very good for memorization because you don't have to memorize only. You'll know what to do. You'll see the organism and you're like, okay, this is gram-positive, you can do this for this, etc., etc. So know the basics really well. They're going to help you because in the exam, if you're going to write ELISA and PCR for lab diagnosis, you will not get any marks. I have seen people write RT-PCR for DNA viruses. So, see, that's the thing. You need to know the concept, the basics, in order to pass any subject. Second year, I know it sounds a little, but it's very academically satisfying. Once you're done with the year, you're going to feel really smart. You're going to feel genius about yourself. Try your best to understand everything. It's okay if you don't score well as much as you studied, because scores have nothing to do with how much you understood. And if you ask me what to do for postings, that's again on you. I would personally recommend focusing a lot on postings too, making notes, reading those notes, and in case posting suggests you a book, you can just flip through that book too. But in second year, since it's very tiring academically with the core subjects, it's fine if you don't do postings that properly. But from third year, obviously, you'll have to. Is that my dad? Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys very, very soon with... Should I tell you? Okay, fine. I'm coming up with a freshers vlog. We're giving a freshers to our juniors. I know it's a year late, but like COVID. And I will see you there. Bye.